Oh, what's up, Grunters? It's your boy, JC, coming at you at the mic. With the mic? At the mic?
Master Worm Grunter JC hitting you up from downtown.
How you doing, Evan?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here with Master Grunter Jonathan. He's going to tell us all about worm grunting today.
That's right. Today's episode is about worm grunting. So, Evan, let me tell you about why worm grunting is the best thing ever. So,
Ready?
You ready? All right. So, worm grunting is basically people getting worms out of the ground by banging metal together.
Banging
That's
metal.
it.
Is that the technical term?
Oh, they call it twanging.
Twanging.
Well, you don't actually have to twang, but you can. But the main means of worm grunting is to twang. Now,
Twang. Dude, that's a great term.
It's a very I feel like it's an uncomfortable term, like moist.
Moist. I was actually
twanging.
kind of half kidding, saying that is that the technical term, but you had the answer. So what the hell do I know? This man knows everything. He's the master.
The master grunter. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it's basically like it's a niche like industry, I guess, from what we've read.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I assume there's a mad need for worms in the world, I guess, for fishing.
It's for fishing, right? And I think earthworms get used as part of like composting and fertilization of crops and things. I think they're an important part of like the process.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But
Yeah, no.
I suppose instead of like actually farming worms, this is more of like a natural way to do it because you just go out in like the ground anywhere and you can do this worm grunting thing and get worms.
Well, we saw like so many like videos and news articles about people using like anything to like get these worms to kind of arise from the surface. So we saw videos of people like blowing their trumpets into the ground, using like pitchforks, stabbing the ground and hitting them with hammers. And what else did we see?
It's a pretty wild scene, but like sort of the main way it works is the point of like worm grunting is you vibrate the ground and it like causes the worms to come out of it for whatever reason. I think they...
I know this. Okay, so basically the reason that worm grunting works is because when you're banging your metal instruments into the ground or playing a trumpet or doing whatever, the vibrations it causes in the ground actually to worms mimic what a predator would be making as they approach a worm. So the worm's like best survival strategy is to shoot up to the top.
Okay, and so would these predators like also be underground?
I presume so. I mean, I guess like they have a better chance if they can like move freely on the surface versus like where the system below. That's at least that's the theories are that's why worm grunting works, is because they're trying to escape predators. And well, I mean, even like there's like heaps of other like reasons they come up to the surface. So like, for example, if you pour detergent on the surface of some soil, the worms will actually come up to the surface because they hate sud-soaked soil.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, I assume they'd be used to just being in wet soil because, like, you know, when it rains, obviously the water seeps down, but there must be something like about the detergent that they don't like.
Well, yeah, it's a natural set of chemicals being introduced into the...
Yeah, exactly. It's like basic.
Water, right?
It's changing the alkalinity of the soil, I guess.
Yes, big words. We're all about the science.
I know, science, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, so we're actually reading about a competitive side. So apparently, actually, not only do people actually do worm grunting, collecting these worms in industry to make profit, but people actually do it as a sport. So
Yeah.
Evan,
So this is like a whole thing, and there's the main one that's called the World Worm Charming Championship. So it can also sometimes be called worm charming, which is sort of like snake charming, I guess. You know, getting the snake to come out of the pot. But it's a worm out of the ground, so it's not quite as glamorous and exotic. This takes place in England, but there are other ones. There's one that's been in Ontario, Canada, and there's ones that's been like in Florida and the United States. And all over the place. So pretty much, you know, wherever there's worms, you can go and do this. But the competitive scene, the main thing is everybody is given a 3x3 meter plot of land, and you pretty much just go nuts, do whatever you got to do, and you got to get as many worms out of that spot of land as possible.
but the rules change depending on the competition you're in.
Okay, yeah. So I shouldn't say you can do anything. So certain things are banned, like you were talking about dishwashing detergent before, and that's banned. I guess that's considered like cheating in the worm grunting.
Yeah,
circles.
I think it works a bit too effectively. Also, for the smart aleck viewers at home, also using a digger is banned, so you can't just like upheave like mounds of soil just to hunt them down.
Just dig like a 10-meter deep hole in the 3x3 plot of land you got and just take all the worms out. Yeah. Yeah. So like you can see YouTube videos of these competitions online. It's mostly the World Worm Charming Championships. And it's kind of everybody, all their plots of land are right next to each other. So it's just absolute chaos and there's people going nuts. You look to your left, there's some guy playing like a tuba into the ground. You look to your right, there's people like beating on pots and pans, and it's just all sorts of things going on. Twanging, yeah.
Just twanging everywhere.
You know, it seems like a cool, fun family sort of sport. You know, you get your kids to come along, you tell them,
no, it doesn't. It sounds
play
like
this trumpet and do whatever you want.
You got to get like a symphony just to play into the ground.
Exactly.
You got to play those good beats, bro. You got to get them to really come up.
Get a barbershop quartet to sing the worms out of the ground.
That's it. That's our next vacation. That's what we're doing. Just worm grunting.
Yeah, I know, but like it's quite the event, and you know, I kind of respect it. It's kind of cool, you know. It's a simpler sort of thing.
It did seem that was a very like local family thing to go and watch. So I presume.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's only big in like the very specific areas, and there's probably like one person who's super keen about it and just organizes the competitions and everything.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but like I was saying before, they have rules like the use of dishwashing detergent is banned, and no mechanical diggers, and also there's a method of electrocuting the worms out of the ground, which I would assume is also banned, where you just put 2 giant metal prongs into the ground and wet the soil, and then attach like a car battery to these, so it just like lets rip a bunch of electricity and the worms come up. So it's kind of like, you know, in the Simpsons movie, Homer Simpson putting the mosquito buzzer in the water to catch all the
get the fish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cheating. But yeah, like I was saying before, I kind of outside of like the competitive side of doing this as well, just people actually do it as their, you know, business. But it's sort of like a simpler thing, just being like farmers, and you know, they might go out and they'll try and find worms and then they sell them. But it's kind of just like a more relaxed lifestyle. You get to spend time with nature. I got no problem with that.
Oh no, it's just very interesting that it's like why is it called worm grunting? Like and why is it called twang? It's like all these things could have been named so much better. But they just they chose these are choices made by someone. Someone's like, yes, what we are doing, we're grunting at the worms, and yes, we are twanging when we are grunting at these worms.
So you have specific problem with the words that they use?
It's just. I mean, I find it hilarious, but it's also like, did they want this to be like taken seriously? Because like I can't take this seriously. It is quite undoubtedly the most like bizarre thing. Like, if I guess like it's a need. We need worms for various things.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just why name it like that.
It's sort of yeah. Like in it existing, it's sort of like if there's a will, there's a way. It's like if there's something, people are always going to take it pretty seriously and go and do it and everything. And I don't know, it's just like a super local cultural thing. But
I guess so.
The one grunting thing, I assume like the grunting name comes from it sounding like grunting when you do some of the twanging or whatever, like beating against the metal, or like you rub this metal thing over, or like you rub 2 metal things together, is it?
Yeah, they literally get any sort of piece of metal or like stick or utensil, and they just smack them together into the ground. It's just like anything that can create like the right frequency of vibrations.
Okay.
So like in industry, what they do is they actually have very specific utensils that they make because they know that they make the right frequencies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. But I think it is sort of like an art form as well. You have to have like a certain amount of skill involved to actually use these tools, because if you're like rubbing 2 things together, the frequency that it makes is going to depend like how fast you rub it together, right? So it's sort of going to be like a learned thing that you have to do.
Oh no, it's like from my understanding of it is that it's passed down, and so they want to pass it on the exact way that it's like most efficient, and they kind of learn with each generation how to do it better. And I presume that with like more technology, they get better at it.
Oh, for sure.
Example, the mechanical digger that could probably just do this a lot better than smacking two spades together.
Hold that thought, Jono. A word from our sponsor. He came back to absolve humanity of their sins and to bring us the greatest gift of them all.
Jesus.
The King of the Juice delivered to us the holiest of flavors, including Purgatory Peach, Water Walking Watermelon, Gentile Grape, and our newest flavor, available only for 3 days,
Resurrection Raspberry.
Support your local Jesus by using the code RESURRECTION at the checkout for a free pass to heaven and an extra 10% off recommended retail price. So anyways...
Actually, I have a question. So maybe this is like severely misplaced because we don't actually worm grunt. And I doubt that the worm grunting community is going to come and hunt us down. But it's just like, it seems that it's a fairly inefficient practice to go and do this by hand. So is there a way to automate that is being done or has been done already? Or could be done?
I know what you mean, and I'm sure there are ways that, like, worms are farmed industrially, but I don't know. It sort of just seems like a smaller sort of business thing that you just do as, like, farmers. I don't think it's that inefficient because you can collect, like, quite a few worms. Going back to the competition stuff, the most worms collected in a 1 hour period is by a 10-year-old girl who collected 567 worms.
Oh, yeah, no.
So that's like a lot of worms in 1 hour.
And I presume the fact that it's from a 10-year-old girl means it's like it's more about the family and small business aspects of it. It's more just one way that this is kind of done.
Exactly.
So I guess that's why it's not really like hyper industrialized. Or I mean, it'd be interesting to see if there is like an industrialized way that they do this, and like if they take anything, like take notes from the worm grunting community.
Yeah, for sure. But
industrial twangers. Sorry, I just thought of that.
Industrial twangers.
So what were you gonna say?
Yeah, but anyway, like, I don't know. They credit it to this 10-year-old girl, but I'm sure she wasn't just like a worm whisperer or whatever. It was probably like her family helping out as well and everything. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
They also, I think they take these competitions fairly seriously, at least in like the small circuits. I don't know if the World Worm Charming Championships is a major circuit as such, but they have like violations and like a rule set that they, like we were talking about it before, like no diggers, no detergent. It's like stuff that they adhere to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe this is getting a little bit off track, but I guess it's one of those things that when you have such a small focus, the kind of group that's really passionate about something like this, or it can be anything. It's that you get. It fosters its own culture. So I guess that's why it succeeded, because it has like that small passionate group that kind of like put all these things in place so that everyone can enjoy it and everyone can have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it is good that stuff gets organized every year, and like I'm glad it happens, and I hope it continues to happen in the future. But there's stuff like this all over the world in smaller communities doing these sorts of things. I know in parts of like America and Canada, I think there's truck soccer and those sorts of things, just like absolutely random, maddening, and like lumberjack competitions, and yeah, you just see lots of crazy stuff.
So what you're saying is there's twangers worldwide.
Twangers worldwide, dude. They should start like a union and call it that. It's a great name.
The TWW represent.
But on the industry thing as well, I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm no worm expert, but maybe the worms are like higher quality if you get them just from the wild instead of farming them.
Oh, probably. It's like that with like anything, any sort of animal harvested, right? It's if it's. I mean, they are getting scared. Apparently, like theoretically, they're getting scared to the surface. But I mean, it's not. I guess you're getting like better like sets of worms like instead of.
Yeah, because probably like the soil is different in those areas, and maybe it just like develops better worms there, and you know the worms are better for bait for fish. I don't know.
Who knows?
Could be a multitude of things.
Okay, so Evan, if you were to, as a project, automate or completely create a device or some sort of infrastructure to automate worm grunting, could you think of a way to do it?
Oh, okay. I was just going to say my first thought would be to grab a massive subwoofer and just slam it in the ground and crank it to 11. and see
That's
what
amazing.
happens.
I thought you got to come up with some contraption that gets like it's got like a whole like a skeleton above the ground, and it has like a bunch of spades and shovels attached, and it just like has like a servo that smacks them together or something like that.
Oh, some sort of like mechatronic
I mean,
thing.
it shows like the engineering, and you just go for the simple solution, the one that
Oh,
just does it.
exactly. Oh, I think the subwoofer would work well. You know, you just put out the exact frequency and it just works. All the worms come up. Bingo, bango. I assume that would be highly illegal in these tournaments.
Oh no, it is. Yeah,
Doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to bring your kid along to play your tuba instead. He is the subwoofer.
Like in one of the videos, we saw a kid upside down. Like he was pretty much upside down, just blowing into the tuba.
Yeah,
and
he
it was like his
going
head
at
was in
it.
the dirt.
But, you know, it'd be funny if the parents like tell them to start playing the tuba for that reason. It's like we're gonna smoke all the other people in these competitions if you start playing the tuba. It's the most
My children know how to play the
important
tuba.
part. Exactly. And they only learn how to play like lower notes on them as well for the right frequencies.
That's exactly how learning an instrument works. You just learn only half the notes. That's it.
Exactly. The most important part. And I was thinking they should try and expand on these tournaments and turn it into like a triathlon sort of thing. So they got to get like their own worms, and then they like hook them up to some fishing rods and go fishing, and then
That would be cool.
They cook it up and they got it plated nicely for the judges.
This sounds like kind
sort
of
of
like a
thing.
weird episode of like Survivor or something where they have it's like they get taught how to worm grunt.
Just some absolutely maddening thing, yeah. And
it's
then,
just- yeah.
eventually you might see it get added as an Olympic sport. Who knows? Worm grunting, the sky is the limit.
I live for the day that they make worm grunting an Olympic sport. That would be spectacular.
Why? How would you make a contraption to automatically harvest worms?
Here's my. I mean, I theorize what you would make, but here's my big brain plan. So you pretty much get tubers lined up all over the ground, right? And do you know how tubers, they have like the circle, like cone. I don't even know what to call that part.
The part where the sound comes out.
That's it.
I'm familiar with it.
Yes, you awesome, good. So since they're all circles, there's like that little diamond in between each of them, whereas you can see dirt. So you put the tubes down and you connect them up to like hoses or something that just like pump air through them, so you can like play the instrument automatically. And then in those diamonds, you have like, I don't know what some device to just like scrape in to like catch them all, and then I don't know, like you could just, or even just have some sort of like vacuum that sucks all the worms that come out under the tubers into the bag, and then lift them up into a giant like catch above. This is like extremely like excessive for like how effective it probably is.
I love it. I know why you were asking me this question. Now you just wanted to tell the world your fantastic idea.
I really did. I'm passionate about it. It's my career move.
And in a pinch as well, it could second for the brass section in an orchestra.
Oh yeah, the worst case, if
backup.
it fails, I can just supply multiple orchestras with tubers. I'll be the tuba guy.
Not sure if that's what you'd want to be known for, but
Hey man, selling tubas is a noble honor. It's bestowed on only a few.
you saying the thing with all the tubers took me back to another Simpsons thing where Bart lines up all the megaphones in a row, like for massive amplification. It's like that,
Wait, what
except
if-
with tubas.
What if you did that into the ground?
Yeah,
Actually, no.
bro.
I guess
It'd
because
be
the frequency
so
would be the
loud.
same. It would just be the amplitude. So it'd just be like the volume.
Exactly. The
And I
world's
wonder if-
loudest thing.
It's like if the volume's higher, then you could just reach more. So more worms. Oh wait, I've improved my design. Okay, I've improved my design. So you have one really big tuba. It's like they're so big you could live inside of it like a house.
mega tuba. I understand.
It's a mega tuba.
Yeah.
And you actually go inside and you put on like earmuffs. Actually, that won't help at all. It's gonna be
I
so
don't
loud.
think
You're
it'd
gonna-
help. Yeah.
It wouldn't help at all. But like, let's say
When-
you could go in without dying. You go inside and you just collect all the worms as they come up, because there's playing so much volume into the ground that you can just quickly grab them all.
Oh yeah, it'd be easy money, dude. You could build a robot that like the electronics wouldn't just explode on that frequency. But,
Like a little R2D2 to just scroll around, just suck them
dude,
up.
that's even better, and he like zaps all the worms as they come up. I think, yeah, if you're like subjected to a frequency like that that's so loud, it's just like you breathe that frequency. You just become that frequency.
You you just assimilate it.
It would be an experience, I'm sure.
Well, I think that wraps it up. Evan, would you like to do the outro?
Yeah. So this has been a little derivative. I've hope you learned something about worm grunting. I think it's been pretty interesting, and I hope you've derived some enjoyment from listening to this.
And I've been Jono. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.